Hey guys, um, thought I'd show you today a quick correction. Um, Sometimes when you put the comic together, and you have the lettering done, you can spot little problems. Something that doesn't read as clearly as you believed it did at the time, or you know felt like it worked at the time. But then once everything is together, and there's some minor tweaks that need to be done, especially for clarity. To me, I really don't fix too many mistakes that I make if it's kind of in the art or drawing. I realize I could do this better or draw this more accurately. One of the reasons I don't do that is because I see that as a slippery slope. It's very easy to then just start tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until you kind of lose vision and intent. Things can actually get worse and muddier. I'd rather be a little off and feel true than noodle to death, you know. But that's just me. That's my own way of looking at things, and that doesn't mean I don't have quality control. It's just that I have my quality control under control. If that makes any sense. Um, anyway, I got some notes back from Brian for issue 3 of the United States of Murder Incorporated. We are on issue 6, almost finished with issue 6. Actually, would have been done with issue 6, but took like a week, was killed by the convention, the Rose City Comic Con. Then Taki had her infusion and stuff. So that's one of the good things about being far ahead on something is life things get in the way. While the con could have been canceled if I was behind a deadline, stuff like health can't, you know. So it's another good reason to try and work as far ahead of schedule as possible. So anyway, now we're looking back at issue 3, which is ready to go out, and there is some panels here. So Jagger is using a phone that's slightly futuristic, and it's she's operating a drone, which you can see over here, and the drone is spying down on below what's happening, and it just kind of looks like a regular cell phone. Like this looks like today's technology, really. Like even with my little um, circuitry stuff on here. It still just, just kind of looks like a phone. So one of the things we want to do to really differentiate this technology from our technology is to create a little hologram image around it. So I'm going to walk you through a process, how to do some patches and some corrections and stuff. Um, so I'm going to go to the ink layer on here and lower the opacity. Um, this layer here that says whiteout, let me put my opacity back up. That is, after I draw all my lines, often I will do a layer that I call whiteout, where I'm just taking a white ink and erasing stuff. And the reason why I don't just erase it with an eraser, but use this white ink to block it out, is so that Taki will see, or any colorist will see where my lines were intended to be. So that when they're coloring and like right down here, the collar is cut off. Now Taki would know exactly how to line up the collar with the form and shape that I drew, but but maybe she wouldn't, or somebody else wouldn't, or whatever. So it's good to have, for me to have this whiteout line here to indicate what those shapes actually are. Hope that makes sense for when they're coloring. So anyway, let's get back to the patch. So I lower the opacity on here on top of the very top layer. Now I'm going to I'm going to basically what I think will work for a hologram, and I'm just going to use a color here because I'm working in uh, Clip Studio and working digitally. It's easy to draw some things in color because this is going to be something that Taki will manipulate on this other layer as an effect. Like she'll probably put some sort of light glow around it and stuff, and it needs to be slightly separate from everything. So for this effect, what I imagine I'm going to do is draw directly on top of this. I don't want to just copy this area and select and paste. I could do that, so it's literally the same drawing on top of the same drawing. But I want to give it a little bit more life, a little bit more a sense of being separate from the phone because it's a hologram kind of floating on top of the phone. So let's just get into the inking of this. I'll keep my ink lines relatively small here. Let's get in here to the helicopter. stylistically, I'm going to make some slightly different choices. So that's all going to be solid green. I'm also going to allow this to overlap because it's on top of the phone. It's like floating over the phone. It's not literally, well, it is literally floating on top of the phone. It's not within the phone. And also doing effects like this is kind of fun because you can do some different stuff. I'm not going to ink this as detailed because I really just need the shapes for what I'm going to do. And again, I imagine that this is like a hologram, so it's like the phone, the image is in here, and then there's this another superimposed image floating off of it. And instead of just doing it super literal, I want the hologram itself to almost feel like it's really interpreting the shapes below it as opposed to literally being just a great hologram. Because while this, the Murder Incorporated technology is different and superior to our technology now because it's in an alternate universe, maybe even slightly in the future. Not really in the future, it's really the same timeline, but it's just technology developed differently here. But I don't want it to be like Star Trek technology either, you know. Now I'm going to try something fun here. This is like a Google SketchUp because I built their studio in their headquarters in Google SketchUp. Then I use that to draw on top of the ink, so it just saves me time with setting up the perspectives and stuff. And I still have to go in and noodle the crap out of it. But this is the raw SketchUp underneath, and I'm going to see if I can just select some shapes here for the cars. I don't feel like I even need to get all of the outline of the cars or anything. I just need to get enough to express the shape of the cars. Expression is a big deal to me in making comics because I'm not a hyper-realistic artist, as an understatement. For something to feel real, to feel right, is more important to me than for it to look right. I'm not exactly excited about the way that sounds, but it's true. All right, looks like I've got my basics here. I think this is all that I really need to do what I was trying to do. Now let's see how this works. Okay, so I'm going to lower the opacity on this even more so I can really concentrate on this green level. Then I just realized there's still some things there's a lot of things actually in Clip Studio that I'm not sure how to really do yet. There's a lot of filters and manipulation and stuff. What do you call it? Photoshop I'm much more comfortable with because I've used it for so long. So there are effects like I'm going to pull this out and stretch it in a way that would I could do really easily in Photoshop. But actually, as I'm talking, I realize, oh wait, I know how to do this here. So let me go over to Transform, just under Edit. Mesh Transformation, that's what I want. All right, so I'm going to lift this all up. And I'm going to have it skewed feel like the helicopter is important to really look like the helicopter. And the rest of it can get this kind of weird skewed thing. I think this will work. I don't know if I want it to. Oops. Interesting. I'm not sure if this will work or not. I think it does. Let me get rid of. Oh, this is another tool that Taki showed me that I really, really liked. Is using this right here. Instead of my eraser, this thing erases it. It erases differently than the eraser. I don't know how or why. It doesn't make sense, but it does. Or then using white to white something out is this this thing down here. So basically, it just keeps the form and shape of the brush that you were using. And does something different with the pixels. It makes it a little easier for the colors to deal with. Um, so yeah, so I've been liking that tool a lot. I'm going to give this a little more three-dimensional feel. I think. I don't know. Just trying to give this as much sort of three-dimension feeling as possible. I don't know. Well, I guess what will help is if I add in some of these other drones here. Maybe this is what I'm missing. Yeah, I think these drone shapes will definitely help. So basically, yeah, she's operating like these surveillance drones off of her phone. I think this might be the missing piece. So I also have to make sure, since there's this other shot here, I want to make sure that this also has this sort of, and I'm going to clean this up. It needs to have these sort of hologram shapes over it, including the drone that's over here. So I want to try and replicate that shape. It looks like a weird little asterisk over her face or something. Okay. So I'm going to redraw that drone here. But it might not stay here. I'm just drawing it over here for now, just to help myself. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so let's grab this to make it smaller. Make a helicopter over here too. This is really small. I'm pretty zoomed in here. So the shapes of the helicopter here, it just needs to be really simple and iconic. Just need people to know what it is right away. You don't need to spend much time on it. I don't like it facing that way, so I'm going to turn it around. Let's do that. I think this will work. So I'm going to grab the black lines here, go back into here, and then erase anything that I don't want to have overlapping with the phone line. By phone line, I mean the physical line of that phone there. I mean, I like it overlapping her hands and stuff, but I feel like the opacity should be lower, so I'm going to do that. That's too much. Yeah, I just went over her hands here so that her hand isn't lost. Actually, I'm looking at it now. I'm thinking maybe if I add in like this little fake grid. Oops. Something about this kind of grid that says hologram. I don't know what or why, but it does, at least to me. Maybe whatever movies and stuff that I've seen over the years. It's a little hard to read with this holographic shape. There's word balloons up here. I don't remember what it is offhand. I should probably break out the script, but if I left that much space, it's for a reason. I noticed that on the drone, there's these little dots on the ends of the thing, so Just try to help it express itself more as a drone shape. Doing the same thing here. Just want to get, I don't want those lines to overlap her hand. I'm using an eraser, but I shouldn't. Actually, I'm not sure if the eraser and then this tool is really doing the same thing or not. But I was doing this thing where to erase some stuff, I was using white, like a white ink, but it registers differently for the colors when it's white ink instead of just this white outline thing. I don't know why, but it just is. That bothers me. I want to touch that up. And put in one more drone here, and I think we're good. Oops. What's wrong? Wrong layer. Okay. I think it's a little too sloppy on this. Let's draw it all over again. All right, so let's see how this works. I mean, I think this is okay. Sometimes you can't always tell how something's going to turn out until it gets colored. So um, I think something else I could do is sort of extend and put my stabilizer all the way up. So these are going to be slightly, what do you call it? They're meant to be pretty straight like lasers and stuff. These lines here. All right, this is definitely working. This is feeling more holographic, three-dimensional. I mean, it doesn't really make sense. Like, why would pseudo circuitry shapes be protruding out of a hologram? But sometimes it's just part of the visual language. Kind of like when you watch, pretty much any movie and there's like hacking going on or something. They always have some fucking crazy like countdown clock or something, some sort of visual that's really showing you that something technological is happening, even though it's completely unnecessary. Like some sort of weird graphic of information downloading. When in real life, you just got this little bar at the bottom and this little round circle showing you it's almost going around, it's almost done. But when you're expressing something about technology and stuff, then you need something flashy and kind of ridiculous. So anyway, yeah, this doesn't really totally make sense, but I think it helps get across the idea that this is some sort of holographic technology. I don't feel like I need to do all of the different lines and stuff here, just some of them. I'm grab all the black line here again because there's some that I want to erase up here. Oops. Yeah, no, that's good. So there's some little white spots here, but I don't think it matters because, again, this is supposed to be some sort of like light thing, some sort of technological um, hologram or something. So there'll be like a glowing effect here. Add a little of that to this panel. So I think that kind of works. Again, we'll see once Taki colors it, and maybe it's not on target, and I have to take another shot at it. It's something new we're doing here, so let's see, some circles here. So here I just want to kind of give it an idea that it's just now being turned on. Maybe I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put the same color that the lasers are up around in these areas here. Now it'll be up to Taki if she wants to use this or not, but like it's sort of this visual cue to her or for the reader, that the lights that you're seeing on the drones are basically the same lights that are on her phone. So it creates this connection between the two things. So there we go. Control save. I think that's relatively successful. We'll see how it comes together in the colors. Um, if not, I'll come back and do another version for you guys, and we'll see if I figured it out. Anyway, that's how I do. That's another little patch. I've got a couple others that I'll do, and I'll see if I can record some of those for you too. Getting back on the work train here after Taki's last round of treatments and the convention and stuff. So yeah, there'll be a lot more videos this week and page posts and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks. I hope this was useful or at least entertaining.